What's going on, everyone? Eric Sztanyo from Keller Williams Realty and TeamStanyo.com, where we are helping you find your home and strengthen your family, and talking about million-dollar homes today out here on a crisp March morning. It is a perfect Cincinnati weather morning because the trees are blossoming, they're beautiful, the green is starting to come, the birds are singing, and it's like 30 degrees. So you get that a lot in the Cincinnati area in March and April, where the weather can be a little bit unpredictable when it's trying to figure out if it's spring or not. And this morning I'm over in Villa Hills, so off the Buttermilk Pike exit. This neighborhood's about 6 minutes off the exit, and I'm showing a property that's listed a little over $1 million at 1.1 right now to some clients who are looking to move to the area, have a budget in that range of like 900 to 1.2. Just had some clients last week with that range, but they were looking on the Ohio side, and we were looking at Montgomery and Madeira. Ended up getting a great house in Madeira for them. But today we're in Northern Kentucky. I wanted to show you some neighborhoods and some properties that are in that $1 million range. So starting off here in Villa Hills, what's great about these neighborhoods is they are mature, they are older. So a lot of these houses were built in kind of the 80s. If you kind of push the development back over the years, you used to have these mansions down by the river in Covington and Newport. Then you kind of made your way back into Park Hills and Fort Wright and Villa Hills here. So this neighborhood's kind of tucked back off the Buttermilk Pike exit. A lot of the nicer homes in Villa Hills are going to be closer kind of to the ridgeline in Northern Kentucky, where you might have Ohio River views. This home in particular has gorgeous, stunning views of this pond in the backyard. It is something to see. And the benefit of going with a home that is, 30 plus years old is when you drive into this neighborhood, you've got these mature trees, you've got this landscaping that's been developed over the years. It doesn't feel like something that is brand new. Now, the downside is the house is not brand new. This one in particular has had a lot of updates put into it, so the home feels refreshed in a very modern way, even though it was built about 40 years ago. So when you are shopping in this price range, you've got a few options. You can buy something brand new. Maybe it has city views somewhere in Newport or Covington, and it's a very modern feel and look to it. Maybe it's more in the suburbs, like out at Rivers Point Estates or in Union at the Enclave at Courtney Estates, where I just showed where you have 1 acre plus sites. Or you could go the resale option and pick a community like this one here in Villa Hills. Like I said, everything in the house is not going to be brand new, but you might find something like this where the home has been updated. It has some really beautiful features. It's in a great lot and location in the city. And even though it's not brand new, it might be a great fit for you and your budget in that $1 million range. All right, guys, so what I'd like to do next is take a minute and kind of orient you. If you are in this $1 million price range for home shopping in Northern Kentucky, I kind of want to show you the different areas around town and what you could expect to get for that budget. And today, again, we're just focusing on Northern Kentucky. Obviously, if we open up the Cincinnati MLS, we could look at different areas around town as well. But I just wanted you to get a feel for where Cincinnati is and these different pockets of Northern Kentucky for these $1 million houses. So zooming in here, the way I would probably categorize these different house types is you kind of have 3 different categories. You have the ones that are closer into downtown. A lot of those homes are going to be newer, smaller space, but you're probably going to have really good views. And then you have kind of your mid-range into town. I would categorize those as these Fort Thomas areas, Edgewood, Hebron, even Union and Triple Crown. And then you have some homes further out, and now you're going to be able to get more land, probably 10 to 20 or more acres with the house if you want to go further south, by Dry Ridge, Walton, Verona, something like that. So zooming into these properties that are closer into town, a lot of these are going to have great skyline views. And we've done some videos before on amazing townhomes or condos here in Bellevue. We've talked about the Ovation development that is happening here in Newport, Kentucky. We've also done a video over here in Covington at 1 Roebling Way. So let me show you a little bit what these look like and what I'm talking about. So this building right here is 1 Roebling Way. This is the Ascent, if you've ever seen the Cincinnati or Northern Kentucky skyline. It's a pretty memorable building because it has that curved architecture to it. This particular property is a 2-bedroom, 3-bathroom condo. And the real benefit of going with a property down here, whether it's Newport, Covington, Bellevue, you're gonna have these amazing views of the skyline. So you might have a balcony like this where you can look over the Kentucky rolling hills, but also be looking right into the Ohio River and downtown Cincinnati. Here at the Roebling, you're right off of the Roebling Bridge. I mean, you're gonna be looking into the Reds games and hearing the fireworks go off whenever they win. So this is one
possibility of, $1 million price range if you want that condo lifestyle with great views downtown. Now, another place where you're gonna find that, and maybe it's not a condo, but you want a single family home, is Park Point. So here's a development kind of just above I-75, which is going into Cincinnati here. You can see this house that's circled right here in Park Point in Park Hills, Kentucky. It's pending and was listed at $979,000, a 3-bedroom, 2 full bath house, built in 2022. So these homes are gonna be probably $1 million up, and you can see there's plenty of lots available if you want that single family home versus a condo down in Covington, Bellevue, Newport, something like that. Okay, so moving out a little bit further away from these options that are, gonna have those city views and a little bit closer downtown, you have a few options here in Fort Thomas. And just imagine that the construction over time, is closer down to the river and has made its way out. And so for the ages of these homes, Fort Thomas is a very old community. Park Hills is also old, and then it kind of made its way out to Villa Hills. And so one of the houses we saw today was this one here in Villa Hills. It was built in 1986, and you guys kind of saw what this house looks like and the beautiful property it has with those pond views. Now, going over to Fort Thomas, that's a community that's older. This house was sold for $1.2 million on Shaw Lane. It was built in 1910. So buying a house like this in Fort Thomas, you're gonna get a lot of that character, a lot of that charm, the hardwood floors, and you can see that this house has an updated kitchen. But you're living in Fort Thomas, which is an extremely charming community, top-notch schools. And again, going back to the map, what's interesting about Fort Thomas is you're not really going there unless you're going there. It's kind of up on a hill and it's surrounded by the river. And so there's no buses, kids walk to school. It's a very family-friendly neighborhood, but a lot of these homes are gonna be early 1900s. So if you're in the $1 million range in Fort Thomas, it can be a great option, but it's gonna be an older home more than likely. Okay, so if moving out a little bit more into the suburbs, again, we mentioned Villa Hills already. Edgewood is gonna have a similar feel. The nice thing about Edgewood, you're right close to Crestwood Town Center, a lot of good shopping right there. You're right in the heart of Northern Kentucky, really easy to get downtown. And you can see a home like this one right here in Edgewood. So this house was built in 1990 on about a 1/4 acre. It's a 5-bedroom, 5-bathroom house with 4 full baths. It was listed for $1.28 million and sold for $1.18 million, 6 days on the market. So a lot of these homes built in 1990s, you can see this brick and stone look to them. If you buy something like this house, it's a great option. You're getting a lot with the home, but again, this house is gonna be about 30 years old, something like that. So zooming back out a little bit further and moving down south from Edgewood, you've got Triple Crown. Now, Triple Crown might feel a lot like some of these Edgewood communities, especially some of the homes that might be centered a little bit around Summit Hills Country Club, but Triple Crown itself was kind of all built originally around Triple Crown Country Club. So Triple Crown is still a very popular neighborhood in Northern Kentucky in general. A lot of these homes were built in the 1990s and early 2000s. Here's a look at a property that was sold in Triple Crown for $1.2 million. This house was built in 2005. It's a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom house. You can see it's right at the end of this cul-de-sac and overlooking a green on the golf course. Now, this home is on a 1.1 acre lot. Be sure if you haven't to watch our Triple Crown videos that we've already done. It's a great community. There's a lot of homes that will pop up like this that were built, like I said, in the 90s, early 2000s. You're gonna get a little bit bigger lot if you are looking in Triple Crown in this $1 million price range than maybe some of the other newer communities around town. And that's gonna transition me over to our next community, which I've mentioned many times on the channel, which is Rivers Point over here in Hebron, Kentucky. Now, there's a few homes over here in Hebron that, similar to Villa Hills, you might have some really nice views of the Ohio River. Again, a lot of these homes were built in 2005. Maybe they've had a kitchen redone like this one. Again, it's a fairly good sized lot at 0.73 acres. And a lot of these homes, as I mentioned, might have views of the Ohio River. Now, right next to this house is the new community of Rivers Point Estates, which is a master plan community. Again, be sure to check out our videos on Rivers Point. It's a master plan development. It's gonna have plenty of hiking trails and keeping a lot of that natural green space. Here's the second home we looked at the day at 1612 Stonecrest. So this house is listed at $1.179 million. It's 5 bedrooms and 5 baths, 4 full baths. And this house was built in 2022. And you can see just with the newer home, you're typically gonna get a smaller lot at 0.26 acres. So that's maybe the trade-off. If you wanna buy the new home, it's likely you might have a smaller lot, or your price point needs to go up if you want a bigger lot. And if you want something that's maybe a half acre or above, you're looking at those homes maybe in Edgewood or Triple Crown that are, 20, 30 years old. Okay, zooming back out, let's say you don't want the city views and you don't want Triple Crown or Fort Thomas or Edgewood or Hebron and you want land, well, then you're going to be looking, south of Independence, maybe in southern Boone County, you can find it sometimes. You can find some acreage, but south of Walton, even down to Dry Ridge here, want to show you guys one of these houses. Okay, so here's a home, nothing fancy, built in 1975. This is actually a 3-bedroom, 2 full bath home. It's listed for $1 million, but what it has is 16.67 acres. So if you're the kind of person who's like, I don't want anyone around me, I want some space from my neighbors, maybe a barn, I'm totally happy to ride on a tractor all day to mow my lawn. I want some peace and quiet and some separation. There's plenty of these properties in Northern Kentucky that you can find around as well. All right, so there you have it, guys. I hope looking at this map and these different areas gives you an idea of what you can get for $1 million in Northern Kentucky.
All right, so one option for that $1 million budget is to buy in that more mature, established neighborhood like Villa Hills, maybe Edgewood, I mentioned Park Hills, something like that. Another one is to buy brand new construction, or actually this one was built about a year ago, but it's back on the market. I'm out here at Hebron, Kentucky at Rivers Point Estates, and you can see behind me, there's still lots being sold. There's construction going on, and this is a master plan community by John Tobin. I've shot this community on the channel a few times before. Gonna have hiking trails, they're gonna keep the trees, but there's a huge plan for this community. There's also gonna be home sites with river views in the new phase that they open up. I believe that's coming this fall of 2024. And you can get into this neighborhood starting in the 600s, but certainly if you're doing a larger home like this one we're about to see, it's gonna be up into that $900 to $1 million range. Let's go check it out. Now, the last home we were in had, like I said, a couple $100,000 of updates in it. So they had redone that kitchen that was built in the 80s, brand new kitchen. They redid the hardwood floors. They'd redone the bathrooms. So they put a lot of work into that. Whereas this new home, brand new by Drees, I mean, this is about a year old. So this is actually a resale here in Rivers Point Estates. You've got beautiful privacy, wooded views behind me. You've got multiple fireplaces. You've got a screen-in porch. You've got a sitting area. But everything you would expect in a modern design and a modern floor plan you're gonna find in the new home. Now, the downside potentially to buying in this price point with a brand new home is the lots might be a little bit tighter than what they built 20 or 30 years ago. So if you want a ½ acre plus, that can be harder to get. And so you're gonna, if you want the new home, it might mean that you're stretching, you're giving up a little bit in terms of the lot size. But the nice thing here about Rivers Point is they're keeping so much of the green space where even though it's a new neighborhood, you still have a lot of wooded, mature trees and that privacy feel like you have in an older neighborhood. So both good options, it just depends on what you're looking for. Well guys, as you can see, what you can get for around the $1 million range in Northern Kentucky is so much more than what you might get in California or Arizona or Texas or Nashville. I mean, really some of the nicest homes, the nicest neighborhoods that you can get in the Northern Kentucky or the Cincinnati area are gonna be around that $1 million range. So your dollar can get you a beautiful home, a beautiful lot, a lot of great options to choose from. So whether you're looking for a home that has a little bit more character, a little bit more maturity to it, that's fine. Or you want a brand new construction home like this here in Hebron or a place like Union in Northern Kentucky, or maybe even a custom home out with some land out past Alexandria or Walton or somewhere south, there are plenty of options to choose from. So no matter what you're looking for, my team would love to be your real estate team of choice and help serve your family's needs. At Team Sztanyo, we believe that home is where families grow strong together and strong families bless the world. So our mission and our tagline is to help you find your home and strengthen your family. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to like and subscribe to join the Sztanyo Clanyo. Hope this video was helpful for you. Go Reds, Hoo Day, and we'll see you in the next one.